Welcome, and we're taking a look at today at taking bookings almost anywhere. So it could be taking them on your phone, taking them on your tablet, taking them on your laptop, or taking them in the office at home. It doesn't matter where you are, you'll be able to take these bookings almost everywhere with these really great booking systems I'm going to introduce you to. The promotion said we're going to look at three of them. That was Calendly, Novocall Timesync. It's a really hard thing to say really quickly, and Get Timely. We're also going to be looking at another few of them. So stand by. We're going to look at some great tools, and they're going to be really good for you to discover, including Square Bookings and another one that I think you're going to love. In fact, I might even be changing over to myself now, giving it a good test drive. Let's share that screen and get underway with today's presentation. What we're going to cover today is why you need systems for taking bookings. We're going to look at what you need to look for in a booking system, as well as taking a look at very specific systems. And we're going to take a look at Calendly. We're going to take a look at Timely. We're going to take a look at Novocall Timesync. I'm also going to pop you into Square Appointments, and a surprise one that I thought was actually really, really good, and it really surprised me. This is brought to you by Business Station and the Australian Small Business Advisory Services Digital Solutions Program, presented by Business Station in Western Australia, Regional Development Australia, Brisbane in Queensland, and Treaty Business Consulting in the Northern Territory. Now, if you don't mind, it's going to turn off my, I'm again in a really, really bad internet area, so I'm just going to turn off the camera. So there's one little best thing that's happening on the bandwidth, and probably make your reception just that little bit better as well. You'll be able to watch this a little later on through YouTube. So I'm looking forward to you seeing it on YouTube, where you can actually find out a bit more about whether, there's not just this, but other things you can watch too. So you can go through to Business Station's YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and put in Business Station, or go to YouTube and put in my name, Dante St. James. I'll have the spelling for that in just a second for you. So you can see whether then also this could be a bit of fun for you. So you're able to look at, I guess, learning all sorts of things, not just this particular topic today on booking systems. You can learn more about websites and selling online. There's lots of videos on there about social media and digital marketing, as well as business systems for small business. And finally, cybersecurity and keeping your data safe. A little bit about me, I'm educated through the University of New South Wales Sydney Business School, through the Chartered Institute of Marketing and TAFE New South Wales, where I take on lots of little micro credentials that keep my, keep myself sharp and relevant, and knowing that I've got all the right stuff I need to know. I work with Facebook's Blueprint Certified Trainer Organisation, which is doing training on behalf of Facebook next week in Central Coast in New South Wales, together with the team from Canva in Sydney. And we'll also travel around the world. It hasn't been the world lately, that's for sure, but traveling at least all around Australia as a digital marketing associate, digital media planning professional, and buyer and creative strategist with Facebook Australia. Then there's Google's Digital Springboard project, which is all about bringing digital literacy to people, not just small businesses, and government programs such as the Australian Small Business Advisory Digital Solutions Program, which is the one you're watching this through today, and the new Business Assistance with NICE program. So let's see what else we can find out about all this. So why exactly do you need a system for bookings? Can't you just have a spreadsheet and use a calendar, even a physical calendar on a wall? The problem is that these things don't make it easy for you to do work on the fly. And they also don't connect to online calendars. And online calendars, I don't know about you, but mine runs my life. By connecting to my Google calendars and my Outlook calendars, my booking system can therefore take a lot of that stress of backwards and forwards away, and actually connect you through to say, okay, is that 1 hour slot available on my calendar? If it is, it can be available in the booking system. And this is perhaps the biggest feature for me that I need it to have, is the ability for it to say, hey, check against the calendar, look and see if I'm available. If I'm available, make that slot able to be booked. If I'm not, do not book that slot because it is not currently available. That syncing of the availability is so vital. But not just the syncing the availability, it's the notification aspect. Being notified that you actually have a new booking in is so important, because you need to know this stuff. This is the stuff you need to know. This is the stuff that tells you whether or not you've definitely got someone coming through as a
As someone who's, I guess, how do you say? They are definitely coming through as somebody who's going to be booking into your calendar. So if you know that that's taken, you've prepared for it. What you don't know has power over you. What you do know about is something that you can control. And if you do know that you've definitely got people coming through, you do know that you've definitely got bookings on the way and they're in your calendar, then you're able to then easily plan your day, plan your week, plan your month. I know, for instance, that next week I have no availability left. The entire week is absolutely full. Great to have that in my calendar, but I would hate it if my systems didn't sync up and actual show that in my calendar so that people could accidentally book in over the top of times when people are already booked. There's also the power of automated reminders, whether they're through just a simple email that's sent out to say, hey, you've got an appointment tomorrow. You might want to turn up for that. Or it could be that that's a reminder via SMS, which I think is even better because people tend to listen to their phone messages a lot more often than their emails. They'll ignore an email, they might ignore an email for 6, 7, 8 hours and then completely forget that they've got this particular event on. But they don't tend to ignore messages that come through their mobile phone as a text message. Text message gets through where other things don't tend to get. What you really want to have happen is to make sure that people are able to be reminded that they know that these things are going to happen. Then we also have, I guess, the idea of a better, smoother, much more seamless customer experience. The ability for people to be able to very happily and easily be able to get through the process of booking you. They don't have to make phone calls if they're not comfortable with phone calls. They don't have to go through secretaries and gatekeepers. They go simply to your website and off they go. They're in there, it's happening. There's no confusion about it. They've booked you and they know exactly what they're meant to be doing. That to me is a great customer experience. So some of the scenarios you might use booking and syncing of bookings with is, for instance, if people are booking a tour with you, if you're a tour operator or you're doing like walks around town, that could be very valuable to you. In fact, it might be where you need to book multiple people into one spot. And some of our tools we'll look at today have multiple person bookings where you can set an availability space of say 12 people. And then once that 12 is booked, it becomes unbookable. So it's almost like booking calendars you do through Fair Harbor and Resd and other booking systems or Res Online, RMS. They allow you to book rooms and they book tours, and they're based upon the amount of people that can be fitted on that tour. In this case, you'll be very, very glad to know that you can almost do all that stuff on these systems you're looking at today. It could be booking for a consultation. That's how I use it. I use it to book in my 1 hour consultations through the ASBAS Digital Solutions program. If someone is having trouble booking in through the actual Atoms or ASBAS calendar, sometimes it's a little bit of a hard journey to go through there. I'll help my clients through there so that they find an easy way to be able to connect. It could also be about booking a lesson if you're doing piano lessons, you've got certain availability. You also know that you can't just go back to back to back to back to back. You need a bit of a break between lessons. So that might involve you taking a 15-minute break between the 4 p.m. lesson and the 5 p.m. lesson. So that's either cutting it down to a 45-minute lesson, or you can go, you know what, I'm going to go that. But the second lesson, the 4 p.m. lesson and the 5 p.m. lesson are now going to be a 4 p.m. and a 5:15 p.m. So that way you're giving yourself a bit of a buffer between those. All these booking systems allow you to do that. Booking visits, such as visiting people wherever they are, there's a possibility of people being able to set a location where you will visit them at. Particularly useful if you're doing a mobile business, say mobile windscreens or mobile coffee or even mobile, car air conditioning repairs. That sort of stuff can be booked in through some of these tools as well to make life a little easier for you and certainly easier for your clients. So the ideal kind of businesses for these kind of systems were people who, for instance, are consultants and advisors who are selling their time in certain determined slots. 1 hour slots, 15-minute calls, half an hour consultations, that kind of thing. Great for babysitters who need to book in their time for having people come and book them in to be babysitters. If you've got a regular clientele, you can give them a link to a booking system and they can book themselves in for that time. It allows you to lock off your calendar for the times that you're not available, and then allows you also to open up new times if, for instance, you want to work a little bit more. For those of us in the gig economy where we're contracting, not employed, this is really quite powerful because it allows us to let people know when, well, more than that, not just letting them know when to book you, but it's also allowing you to open up your calendar to more if you want to turn up that fire hose and earn a bit more money. If you want to be a bit more quieter one week, you simply make yourself less available and you're just working to the pace you want to work at, according to the amount of time you want to work and the amount of, I guess, money that you want to make. Coaches and tutors and trainers are very obvious ones for this because they have specific training sessions, or they've got particular tutoring times, or they've got blocks of time during the day where that might be something that they're doing that might be very important to them, to actually only have that available, say, early in the morning, not late in the evening. So then there's small tour operators as well. They could be the other people who are really, I guess, really important to be able to be connected. They're the people who, for instance, are then going to be, I suppose you could say they're the people who you could be connected to in anywhere, because tourists are often on the fly. They're on the move. They're in cars, they're in caravans, they're in boats, they're going all over the place. They're not necessarily in one place at one time. They're in motion. And then if you're a tour operator, you're also in motion. You're moving around a lot as well. You're not just in the one place, you're all over town. So it's important for you to be able to reach those things at any time and also limit the amount of people who can be booked into one particular time slot. If you can get 12 people in your tour at 8 a.m., you can only fit 6 people in your tour at 12 p.m., then you want to make sure that you're not overselling the slot so that people become cancelled and disappointed. So what you want to be able to do in a system like this is to set your availability. You want to be able to have multiple attendees. If it's a class or a workshop, you might want to put in things like buffers for breaks or buffers between, allow one lot of people to get out and a lot of people to get in. Or so some of us, it's just quite simply to make a coffee and go to the toilet could be what we're trying to do here. So if you're trying to do that, these are what these systems absolutely excel at. And then they sync in with all these things in mind through to your Apple, Google, or Outlook calendar. Now, some of these systems, one of them in particular we'll look at later on, which is the Square Bookings, only syncs with Google Calendar. So that one's going to be a little bit different, but most of these will sync with Outlook as well. And some then again will sync with iCal on your Apple device. The basics that you're going to want these things to do is, number one, to allow you to sync with your calendar. That is absolutely vital. Every single one should be allowed to do that. Now, you will have to shop around for the ones that sync with the particular calendar service you want. As I mentioned, Square Bookings does not work with Outlook or iCal, but it does work with Google Calendar. You want at least reminder emails, possibly even reminder SMS. You will have to pay extra for that. It's either a one-off charge for some of them, or for some of it's just like on a monthly basis, you pay a certain set amount, and that includes the ability to get reminder SMSs in there as well. You also want the process of rescheduling and canceling to be automated. You don't want having to ring you up and change all that backwards and forwards of awkward emails where you're trying to reschedule something. You want people to be able to go, okay, they need to reschedule. They go in there to the link in their calendar request and it says, okay, reschedule here. They click on that, they reschedule it to a time that's actually going to work for them. And when they do it, then they don't have to do that again, that whole backwards and forwards thing. They're actually scheduling for time that suits them and is available for you as well. And the cancellations, much the same thing. You can have cancellation policies in there, but more than that, you actually want to be able to have some sort of way that people can cancel without having to tell you. And then you're notified via email when that cancellation goes through. The other thing that I really like having, and it's not always a good thing, it's a system that I'm kind of testing out at the moment, which I love the system, love everything it does, but it doesn't allow me to embed the calendar on my website. So it doesn't fit into my current look and feel and branding. I have to sort of make an allowance to click away to a different process or to a different part of the internet to process those bookings. Now, this isn't a deal breaker necessarily, because most people are very used to this. Most people are very used to the fact that you click on some links and it doesn't always stay within the site you are in, especially when it comes to booking systems. We're kind of used to it with doctors and physiotherapists and consultants and even with going to shops to have fittings, that sometimes the system for booking is on a separate page and a separate system that isn't part of the basic website. But for me, that website widget thing is quite important to me. There's also in there that you're not just integrating with websites, but also the integration with things like Google availability or Google services or Google bookings, and also with Facebook, the Book Now button on Facebook pages and Instagram as well. There's things that do and don't integrate with it. Not everything will integrate with the booking buttons through there, but some of those will. So if that's very important for you to do and have that syncing ability, then you can do that through Facebook and Instagram as well. There's some extras that I think I like to have. One system I use is for when I need to qualify. Lately, I've been getting a lot of website traffic from Indonesia and the United States on one of my websites, at least. And what it's meant is a lot of people in the US and Indonesia have been trying to book me for consultation calls. And whilst I'm very flattered that someone in America would want to talk to me, I'm not really the right person to talk to about marketing in America because I'm not American. I do not live in America. My studies have not been around marketing in the US. It's all been about Australia and New Zealand, and to a lesser degree, places like PNG and East Timor. So I have to have qualifying questions in front that say, are you in Australia or New Zealand? And they say no. Then it says, sorry, that this service is not available to you at this time. So it's a friendly message that goes from my website and doesn't allow them to then place a booking. But if they do go forward and place a booking and pretend they're in Australia and they're actually not, I've then got the ability to override that booking and cancel it and say, I do not take bookings from the United States. Having additional information fields might be handy if you need to verify things like people's addresses or have things like ABN numbers or some kind of reference number that they need to put in from previous contact they may have had with you. It's also good to have multiple different kinds of appointments. So it could be a 15-minute call to a half an hour consultation to a 1 hour training session to be able to book one or all of those different things at different times. Also to have sessions that you can book one person into, or sessions that you can have as group sessions where up to 6, 7, 10, 30 people could be in that session. And once it's full and it's unable to then be there. Adding things like paying for those sessions up front on your booking system tend to come as paid add-ons. You'll also have to connect through things like payment systems like PayPal and Stripe and Square and other things like that. So if you want to add payments, that generally is going to cost you a little bit extra and will come generally with the paid versions of those tools. So the minute you want to actually start making money on them and not taking free appointments, then it's going to start costing you. That said, it's not such a hard thing because you can still take payments on your website. You can still take payments through invoices when people come to see you. So having like a lack of the payment through a premium product up front isn't necessarily a problem. It doesn't stop you charging for your services. It just stops you charging for the upfront of the service. So the first little tool we're going to look at today as I get out of my screen and go into it is one called Calendly. Now, Calendly, as you're seeing on screen right now, is probably the most popular of all the tools that does this. They were very early in the game, and it's a nice, it's just a beautiful flowing, easy to use system that's got more complex over time, but it's being simplified into something that allows you to not only have a page where people can go to book, but it's also got the ability for you to embed little bits into websites, and you can put the links through to other different things as well. It doesn't let you link your calendar from Google's Book Now button. Sorry, not Google, Facebook's Book Now button that appears at the top of your page. It doesn't have the ability to connect to your Instagram Book Now as well. But what it does have the ability to do is for you to be able to, pretty much embed your widget or the actual calendar item inside any kind of web page that you have control over. So if we look at the pricing in here, bear in mind these are US pricing, there is a free version. So for individuals, you've got the basic $0 a month. It's branded with Calendly. It's including pretty much everything except for payments. So if you want to have, a particular calendar connection, it can connect to only the one calendar. It's got apps that are available to operate on the go. That's great. You can have as many meetings, one-off meetings, whatever you want, notifications. You can have notifications coming through from email. You have to pay more for SMS, but the email's free. And you can have then one-on-one events, but not group types for free. Once you pay the $8 a month version, which is what I'm paying,
is that's when you start throwing group events, those sort of things, and more options to embed and custom notifications from email, and then also SMS notifications. Now, you can't set the SMS notifications at that level, but once you get up to the $12 a month billed annually, or it works out to be $15 a month. Now, this is US prices. Please do remember that. If they bill it monthly. So you do have a month-to-month or an annual plan. I've got the annual plan. It's actually the Pro. I've got the $15 a month one. Then I've got the opportunity to hide Calendly's branding if I wish to have my custom designed pages that people can land on, lots of different colors. So I can put my branding colors in the calendar and in the widget, and then also have things like custom messages in the SMSs so that when the SMS goes out, it's not going, oh, okay, this is very, very set in stone, this one thing you have to do. What it does, it makes sure that I can put in the message I want to put in. It allows me to put in the right kind of message that reaches the right kind of person, the right kind of way, in the language that I want to share it in. So that's an introduction to the pricing of Calendly. Let's go into my account and have a look at how I've set up my Calendly. Now, my Calendly is probably a little bit more complicated than most. I've got lots and lots of different calendars that I use for short periods of time, and I've got lots of calendars that I use as ongoing access to be able to book me. So in this case, I've got this workshop one-to-one follow-up. So on this booking page, if I click on it, it's probably going to tell me that there's nothing left. So that's got the 27th and the 28th of June, and the only times I've got left for that. So these are for the workshops that I ran on the on a one-day digital marketing degree workshop that was running all day in Townsville, Cairns, and in Darwin. So the follow-ups of these allow people to book in 1 hour with me as included with their attendance with that. Now, and this month I've only got availability on the 27th and on the 28th. And then in July, I've then got quite a bit more availability. You notice I've actually blocked out Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays because I don't want to do these on those days because they are very busy days already usually. I want to take those bookings only on Mondays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So I'm open 7 days a week, so I can take those calls then. If I want to go on, say, for instance, this Saturday, I'm going on a cruise in Broome, a sunset cruise. I close myself off from about 2:30 p.m. Western Australian time, where I happen to be, and then that closes me off then across that time zone from the East Coast through to Central Australia and right across to the West Coast as well. So this is kind of an elegant, I guess, solution to getting people to do those things with you. So this is this one particular one. And if you go through the process of saying, I want to book in on the 3rd, Saturday 3rd, it gives me an option, 4:30 p.m. I then confirm that and I can fill in the details that I preset. So in this particular one, name and email are already there. But then I can add other people to this if I wish. So that's just something I can do as a guest. The other thing I can do is if it's a workshop, I've got a custom question that I ask them to answer which workshop were they in. So then I've got an immediate thing where I go, oh yes, I remember you were in the Cairns workshop. It gives me a little bit of extra, I guess, recognition of that person. And then I ask them a question, what specific area of your marketing would you like to cover in this section? And then I give them the option to have text message reminders sent to their particular text message number. So that way they can get reminders sent to them and then they schedule that event and it's then synced in with my calendar. So you'll notice that in my main calendar, I've blocked out those days. I said I don't want to do those. That isn't in my source calendar. That's actually here in Calendly. So if I go back in here, so I've got workshop one-to-one follow-up. If I go in and actually look at editing it, it's going to show me all the different options I have to make changes to that particular calendar. So I've set it so that people can only book a 60-minute session from the 27th of June through to the 31st of July. So I've deliberately set it so it's at the end of the month because that's the only time in June I've actually got any availability. So in amongst that, I can say that they can either book a certain amount of days ahead. So normally this defaults to about 90 days into the future, so about 3 months. But I'm only giving these people 1 month in which they can actually have these sessions. So that way they're not hanging around forever. I'm getting them out of the way and sorted while I can. Or I can have my calendar run indefinitely into the future if that's the way I prefer to run it. I can also set the duration at these particular limits
or have a custom, say, of 20 minutes if I wanted to. If I go custom, I can set it to 20 minutes or even set it to 12 hours, which is ridiculous. We don't want to do that. So setting it back, this one to 60 minutes. Now there's schedules I have already set in here as the existing default. But what I've done for this particular kind of booking is I've said that I'm available from 9 to 3 on Sunday, Monday, 9 to 7. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm deliberately setting myself as unavailable. I do not want to take bookings for these particular things on those days. Now, if I find that July is quite quiet, I can then open that back up again, and I can make myself available, say, on the Tuesday, as opposed to Wednesday and Thursday, or just write off me pretty much every day, every week of every month. And I can then make it different. So, for instance, on Friday, I want to be done by 6, but on Monday, I'm happy to be done by 7. Saturday by 6, I might pull that back now to maybe 5. I want to have my last appointment finished by 5. Then I can have particular date overrides. And you can probably guess what that's for. It's for public holidays. So for instance, there's a public holiday in Darwin, which is on the 1st of July, I believe it is. Or it's the first weekend of July. So it's usually what Sunday to be, the Monday the 5th. So the 5th of July, I can say that one, I'm not available. And I completely make that day unavailable on a Monday, whereas normally I will be available on that Monday. But I've made myself unavailable on that particular one. I can do the same for things like Christmas Day, any of those things. But generally, if I've made myself unavailable, I don't have to do it necessarily in here. I can make myself unavailable from my, get ready for this calendar. It looks absolutely horrific. Discard that, go back to my calendar. Here's my calendar. So I go forward to the 1st of July. I can see here that's fine. If I want to take the 1st of July off, I can actually block it out from in here. So I can go, okay, I'm going to make that a day off. I'm going to go public holiday. Actually, not the 1st of July, it's the 5th of July, sorry. Forgot about that. Let's go here, 5th of July, public holiday. And then I'm going to block that out and make that completely unavailable. Busy, block it out, give it a reg mark so it's all known. Now that I've set that, if I go back into my booking system, which is obeying what my orders are from here. So if I get out of here and go into the actual booking system, refresh it. Remember, I'm in July here. Now the 1st of July was Thursday, but the Monday of July, 5th of July, was the date I blocked out. That would normally be available to book, but I've actually blocked that out because it's not available in my calendar. Like the 19th of July, let's take a look at what's on the 19th of July. And 19th of July, I'm traveling. I'm in Coffs Harbour, so I'm not available to be booked on that day. So then if we go back here, we see that, okay, that lines up with what's the availability in this calendar. So the syncing happens really, really quick. It doesn't have much delay between it. I essentially made that day unavailable on the 5th, and it's immediately unavailable in Calendly. So there's lots of other features that Calendly does have. If I cancel out of that one, and I can go into asking extra questions, like which workshop did you attend? Once I've done that, I can move on to then my workflow. So that tells you, I want to set an SMS reminder when people book, or I want to set an email reminder when people book. So in here, I've selected certain workflows that I have. Because I've got one sort of workflow, one sort of set of notifications that I produce for every single booking I have, for every single type of booking, then I can just repeat that all into all the different calendars I'm running. And then as we go further, we can set things like notifications of how they work, as well as cancellation policy. So I don't have a cancellation policy, but I do have the ability to include cancellation and reschedule links in the notification. So that goes into their calendar request. It also goes into any of their SMS or email notifications, so they can easily cancel or make a reschedule. And those reschedules are usually blocked off within 24 hours of the event actually happening. So once we get out of there, then our last final ones are the confirmation page. You can either use Calendly's default one, or in my paid version, I can actually go out to an external site as well. So if I want a particular confirmation page, say, thank you, your booking has been confirmed. Thank you and have a nice day. Here, go read some of my blogs. I can do that. So that's when I add in a custom link to go to a specific place. And finally, if I wanted to accept payments, I've set up Stripe and PayPal to be
put in with my system. So I can say with Stripe, using Australian dollars, I can say it's going to be $120 for the session, and then have payment terms such as refunds, policies, or saying that that this is the price. If you have a special price, you'll need to be refunded a certain amount for what that special price is. The idea is here, you're able to set those payment terms, you're able to put the payment type in, and off you go. So that's pretty much a look at Calendly. And as you can see with my version, I haven't got just one calendar. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there's more. Wait, there's more. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different calendars in there that I use for very specific things. So sometimes that calendar may be set, for instance, to have a 60-minute in-person consultation. That will have a certain availability set for it. I'll also have things like the niece quarterly visit. Now, I set those to only be on certain days of the week at certain weeks of the month, and they're only allowed ahead at 30 days, so people don't accidentally book in their June meeting in July. So I've got to have them all done by the end of June, for example. So you got all these different kinds of ones, and they can all have all of their own exact kind of restraints or payments, or all their different variations you have in there. So they can be, like in this case, a new starter session is 15 minutes, but a Broom Asbas 1-to-1 is 1 hour. So that's how I differentiate the different hours, different times. And that's costing me $15 a month US, which is just not that bad, really. So once we've actually now looked at the idea of Calendly, it's time to now look at another one of these systems, which I think is quite good as well. In this case, it's something that I chose not to use for my business because it was a little bit of overkill, and that's Timely. Timely is a New Zealand company, and Timely is very good at certain things for certain kinds of people. So Timely is great for, as you can see, grow the value of your business or your salon specifically. It's very, very good for people who have salons and are selling their time for personal services. So you can have a look at the features. There's appointments. There's also a customer relationship management system built into it. Now, whilst I did want a customer relationship management system, it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but it does have that in there. So for instance, over on the right-hand side where you see Isaiah Sean as having an appointment, there'll actually now be not just a booking for Isaiah Sean, but there'll also be a record for that customer. So there's more information about all the different bookings that Isaiah Sean might have had, and you can see a record of them. Say, for instance, if they had a particular hair treatment done, then that will be on their customer records, so that they'll be able to say, oh yeah, I see last time you had that particular color, so now here's the color I think we can get done for you this time around. So it's giving the opportunity to be able to, I guess, keep track of a customer and have easy reference to what they had done in the past, which for a salon is really, really important. Then you've got, that's that client management section. So it gives you a record of, okay, here's what was done. You can even include photos of that client. You can have a record of when they had those particular sessions done or those particular treatments done. So it allows you to be able to save a lot of time and deliver, I guess what they're saying, a personalized experience every time. You can also set rewards so that every time they visit, they get a certain amount of points, and they can use those points to then, to get discounts or to get upsells or whatever it is you want to sell as the way that you want to help people to come back and use your business again and again. Another feature, I'm not going to go into Timely because I've actually canceled my account with them, not because of anything bad, just because it wasn't the thing that I needed it to be. Next thing is consultations. So you can actually book consultations as a specific kind of thing. So it can be things like, in time, it's putting together, I guess, blocks of information that you can sell. So in this time in the day spa in Sydney, they said that they saved over $90,000 a year in time, because what it does, it lets you book in online forms. So then your customer doesn't just have to book in through a special website. They can have a form that's on your website that they can book in through, which makes life a heck of a lot easier and means that they're able to, I guess, get what they need done in a much more efficient and a much more effective way. And then also when you look at timely pay, it's the ability to add on the ability for people to be able to make their payments ahead. So if you had a salon, for instance, that would help you to be able to get that payment out of the road. There's no awkward things at the end where they go, is it that much? Oh my God. You can then have that payment go straight away. It's a really good way and it's very secure. And it happens much the same way you do any sort of online payment. Price wise, if it's just you, it's from $25 per month. This is in US dollars, unfortunately. I'll just check though that they actually have got the US dollars, whether this is Australian, because last time I looked, they had the conversion. Yeah, it is actually. So the basic is $25 US a month, Australian a month. And then as you're building through other things, including sending SMSs, it goes up to 35, 50, and then 70 for the top tier as well. That's if you pay month to month. If you pay annually, it's going to cost you a bit less because you're getting 2 months free. So if you pay it up front. So it's not a ridiculously expensive option. It's actually really good value for all the things it actually lets you do. It's just it just need to really work out of those things, out of the basic build and elevate, what it actually includes. So in client management, for instance, you do get it across there in the mobile app. You can have contact tracing for the sake of COVID, which works from the build version upwards. So not everything is included in every single one of those. Timely consult, for instance, isn't included until the $50 a month version. Then you want to add on payments and be able to make sales through it. Or then you can take payments and put discount codes in from the $35 version up. Afterpay can be offered, funnily enough, from the build version upwards. So if you qualify for Afterpay, this is a really good opportunity for you to be able to get that automated for you. They've also got point of sale hardware that can be connected in. So if you've got particular POS systems or any of that sort of thing, you can then tie in people through that hardware with an API connection through to Timely. So as you can see, I don't have the inside of Timely because I actually do not use it anymore. I did give it a try and it was a bit more of overkill than I probably needed. But I did start using another tool called Novocall Timesync. I never get that right. As much as I use it, as much as I actually really like it, I don't seem to be able to get the actual name of it correct. So in Novocall Timesync, it's a product that I got through AppSumo that gave me a lifetime deal. Actually, no, it wasn't even through AppSumo. It was actually just from an ad that I saw on Facebook. And then I clicked on it and said, that's something that really interests me. And they had one particular thing that did particularly interest me, which was the ability to do a certain thing. And that was to, as I log in, to set a qualification question at the beginning. So as a sign of this one, we'll show you how it works and what you get to do and how it actually helps to fill a gap in my workflow. So as part of that, I'm going to go to my two of my websites, and we're going to see, first of all, the booking systems that I use on those sites for different things. So in my DanteSandJames.com, I've got a Book Me Now that goes to a certain site. Now you can probably tell me when I click on it which site that's going to be. So it goes into here. It automatically says, there you go, Calendly. So in this case, I've got the Calendly in there that can book availability for a 60-minute session with me on June 11 at that particular time. Now I can change that over from a 1 hour consultation. That's for that full priced 1 hour consultation. I do not take payments yet on that one, but I can. In fact, if I wanted to, I could do that through Calendly. But through my Clickstarter website, I only take bookings for 15-minute calls. And that's because I'm looking to do a scoping session with people. I'm not looking to book in paid sessions just at this stage. So I want to book a call to see what's possible. It opens up a new page and it goes to my Novocall Timesync booking system. And in this particular system, the first thing it's going to ask is that question of, am I a business operating within Australia and New Zealand? Now, if I click no, it's going to take me immediately to a friendly page on my website that says, thank you for your interest, but unfortunately, we don't operate the service in the country you operate in. And we're currently in the process of setting up in these places. We're only at the moment working in Australia and New Zealand. So it's a nice friendly page that looks like it's part of my website. If I go back in here and go, it's a 20-minute scoping call, click yes. Okay. It's now going to take me into the booking system proper, where I can go, okay, when is a 20-minute call available with me right now? Friday the 4th, I can probably shoot one in at 2:10 this afternoon. So I put that in, who am I? what's my email address, what would I like to talk about, then confirm the meeting. Nice and simple. It's not inserted in as a widget, although I am told that Novocall are developing a widget. They're developing a way to get this particular system inside your website so it looks that little bit neater, which is a pretty good idea. I like the idea of it. It means that then you won't necessarily book a call, see what's possible, and goes to another site. It will pop up in a window within my actual website, so it doesn't have to go elsewhere. People are not jumping around systems. They feel a little bit more confident. Inside my Timesync dashboard, I can set things like the different kinds of calls I want to have. So at the moment, I've connected my calendar to the 20-minute scoping calls only, but I had decided that I don't want to have a 1-hour session bookable through this particular tool. I just want the 20-minute scoping calls, and that's it. So if I look at there and say, okay, what do I want to do in there? Let's click on it and see what the options are. So the options are that I can set my event details, much the same as Calendly, where I want to locate it. So I've said I want to run this through Zoom. So I've already got this synced up with my Zoom login, so that then books that Zoom login and sends the details through them through there. So it's a really great little system. Then I can have that the URL that shows the actual web address is going to show that the stuff they have to have, then my business name as a part of it, and then this name here. So that might be important to you. It may not be. That's completely up to you. The other thing I can do as well is to set what my display name is and the email address I want to be notified through. Then set things like colors. I can upload a logo, and then, which I haven't got at the moment, but I should upload one. I have a confirmation page that either goes to the default page or it can go to a custom page that I set. And I can also turn off the Novocall branding, which I want to do. I don't want the branding on there. So let's put that in there and let's see how that now changes how everything looks. So I go back to the Novocall page, to my Novocall page, that is. There we go. So the Powered by Novocall that you can see down the bottom is now being removed. I can also update this here if I want to have a different logo in there. So I actually should put my Clickstarter logo in there, shouldn't I? So I can then upload that. I won't do that right now because we need to cover all these other ones. I've only got just a little bit over 15 minutes to go. So I want to make sure I get everything right for us. Now in Novocall Timesync, then I can set things like my availability, like I could with Calendly. I can set my schedule settings so I can actually have how long it's going to be, how long it's going to last, and then buffer time between events. In this case, I'm going to set that buffer time now to 10 minutes. I don't need half an hour between them. And how far ahead can people book those days? At the moment, because I get called up on travel so much, I don't really want to have that available for more than 30 days in advance. Otherwise, it's just leaving me open to having to cancel things too many times. And how many people am I allowed to have in each time slot? This is important if I'm booking group sessions. If I want 6 or 7 people to come, I can say I can have up to 10 people booked into that one time slot at the same time. That would be a group session. Let's update that. And now, just like with Calendly, I can set notifications. So in here, I've set, here's the email that I want to set out. I can use little placeholders such as their name, and that will allow that. Now, they don't have the SMS capability in there yet, but they are apparently going to be building that in very shortly as a paid thing. Then I can have my questions if I want extra questions. So I've got email, I've got a name. I can add a phone number in there if I like, but for me, I've just added in what they specifically want to talk about so I can get a bit of a heads up. And then I can also add a payment if this is a paid session. So I can connect this through to PayPal, Square, and Stripe if I want to take payments through those systems. The magic one I like, the reason why I actually use this is through the qualifications. I add a qualification question. I can add more than one. If they do qualify for this, then they go to a second question. I can make that go for many questions in a row to make sure that this person is qualified to be speaking to me. I can say, for instance, if you want to inquire about a website, are you willing to spend at least $5,000 to get your website set up? No, then there's no use talking to me because that's the starting price. If you are, that's great. We can talk a little bit more about it. So that's a really good way of making sure that you're not getting inquiries through from tire kickers and people who are not going to fit your business. Your integrations then are things like your calendars, so then we'll sync with your calendars and also with your different communication suites like Zoom and Google Meet. But this one's good. If you're a Salesforce or HubSpot user, not bad, hey. And then also you can install the Facebook pixel so that when this fires off, you can say that this is a conversion event. Now, it may not work if people have got the third-party cookie tracking turned off, which most iPhone users do. So that may not be that much use to you. But you can also connect through to other things like Zapier, which can connect you to lots of other different systems to have notifications and such, and your two payment providers as well. So you can integrate with Stripe and with PayPal. So that's Novocall Timesync. I'm never going to get that easily, am I? It's always going to be a stress and a hassle to be able to pronounce that correctly. Novocall Timesync. Next one, though, is called Simply Book Me. And this is one which really surprised me. I didn't think I would like this one. And then I actually started playing around with it. What I've created is this particular page. Now, it's not an embedded widget type of booking. It's something which sits outside of you. The difference is that it's free. You actually get a free website that actually takes your bookings. So if I go book now, it then says, okay, what would you like to book? Is it a scoping call, a niche information call, or an ASBAS consultation? And allows me to have different sets of availability for each of those different kinds of things. So let's just say I want a niche information call. You want to find out about the niche program. Select, it brings up my availability over this month. It tells me that on Saturday, I've only got a 12:30 appointment available. Or on Friday, I've got no more slots. Monday, what have I got? I've got probably nothing. I don't think I've got a lot on Monday, but you never know. Yep, none in there. None in there. It's actually showing me that I've got not a lot of availability at all. So I keep going until I find today. There we go, 4:30 p.m. And in there, I then start the process of my name, my email, my phone number. You can then have, have extra information sent, which I hate. I want to be able to get rid of that, and agreeing with the terms and conditions of this particular provider. And then I can put the provider name. Once I get it all set up, ready to go, we'll have my name in there as well. It's a pretty good system. It's nice and tidy. It lets you have those things, and they're all free. There is a paid version of this. There's also that people can leave reviews for you in this system. Now, this in the free version is compulsory and mandatory, but if you're in the paid version, you don't have to have the reviews in there. I would say leave them anyway, because you just never know. It could be a good way of helping you to gain some traction from testimonials and to get some good news that you can share with people. So don't be too scared to have reviews in there. No one's really scared of a little truth, are they? Maybe, maybe not. So inside the system itself, here is my dashboard. I've just turned this on and already it seems to be full of color and lots of busyness. So I can look at my calendar and look at my bookings within here. I can look at my booking website, which takes me into this. I can then also see what I'm booked for, what I'm booked for, what I'm available for. So this is syncing in with my calendar. I haven't actually done the syncing. Oh, I have actually. I've done the syncing, but it doesn't show me what I'm available for. It shows me what has been booked in there. Now, these availabilities, know how it's all blued out, and then there's this little gap here of white and this little gap here of white. That's showing me that I have some availability at that time, but not enough availability to fill in one of these on a Friday. On the Saturday, though, notice how it's got this gap here is the gap when you can book an actual call, because there's a 15-minute gap there, a 15-minute gap there, and leaves me half an hour in there to take that call. So that means that I can set those buffers as well. So if I go in to set my time settings, I can say that I have a particular schedule that I want to run to. I can set my opening hours, so it overrides whatever it happens to be in my Google Calendar as well. In here, I can say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, here's my hours that I'm open. And I can change that to not be provider name one. So what I need to probably do is go up to manage and go manage service providers. And in there, change provider one to my name. Because then I can have other people in my company who I book those things with. So when it picks up the availability, it doesn't have to just pick up my availability. Let's say you've got a massage therapy studio, and you've got two masseurs, and both of you are then able to then have a booking put in through this system. Then that person could actually choose who they want to be with. So let's just say I'll go back to this little booking here. I'm going to go book now. I'm going to select my niece information call. It's a 30-minute call. I'm going to do it on Saturday at 12:30. And now it's saying provider name one. If I refresh that, it should say my name. Come on. Shouldn't take that long to sync and update. Yep, now it's saying my name. So it'll then appear. So it's nice and quick. It does the job. It doesn't have the ability for you to be able to embed this into your own website. But the fact that it is an attractive looking site, you can actually set what the look is. There's different looks and themes that you can set up. So I haven't particularly set a theme in here, but I can then set in the booking page to set what my theme is going to look like. So I say, okay, I want to add my company to the booking page. That's a different service altogether and allows you to then be listed for all sorts of different things. That's not something I want to do. What I will do that on my settings, for instance. Sorry about that. We just dropped out. My first little internet drop out of the day. Let me share my screen and we'll go back to where we were. Well, we're just moving across from the Simply Book Me platform to now the Square platform. I'm just going to turn off my my video again and we'll get into Square. So as I go into Square now, I'll be able to time back into it and it'll show me my viewing, my login and my viewing platform for this. I've got a few accounts with them. In this case, I'm going to select this one. And because I've got my bookings set up, it's a separate part of Square that you have to activate separately than what you have with your payment system if you've got one of those. And as this logs in, it's going to tell me what I've got as services. So I've got like a consultation that I've set for 30 minutes. So if I go in there now, I want to see actually what all this looks like. I've actually got a Square booking page. So this is not the most friendly or usable thing. I can have an item that people can buy in an online shop. I can have services that people can book. So if I go into consultation, I can see that it's got a category that I can set. I've got no category set. I can have a little thumbnail that appears for it, set a price, a cancellation fee. I can add the ability for people to go, okay, it needs to have a 30-minute duration. And then I can have what is called a processing time. So I say I need between like certain things that happen across that time. So for instance, where we go 10 minutes, 10 minutes to set up, 10 minutes to do the service, 10 minutes to shut down, that could be something that I set. I can also block extra time. So I can say after the appointment, block an extra 1 hour. Let's say no hours and maybe 15 minutes. I can block 15 minutes after the appointment so that I can get a bit of a rest. This might be particularly good for those into physical therapies like massage, or even in salons like haircuts where you go, I need to go to the toilet, I need to grab a coffee, give me 15 minutes, please. So that lets you do that. You can have a display price that you set, and you can also have a resource that's required. A resource can be a person, a resource can even be a meeting room that you can put in there so that when someone places this, it locks up their resource as a person or as a meeting room for that allotted amount of time. Like I said, this is not the most friendly looking system and it looks a lot more complicated, but it does tie in really, really well to your Square payment system. So I would only really recommend this one if you've already got the Square payment system and you're able to work from there. This is not necessarily a good option for a beginner looking to start out at taking their first walks inside the booking systems thing, but it does give you the option if someone's looking at your website and you've got a Square website with Square payments, that they can actually do all that they need to do with you, whether it's buying a dinner, buying a product, or then going forward and doing something more complicated, like, I don't know, maybe booking a consultation time with you. They can do it all from the same website, all at the same time, and there's no mess, no fuss. It all just works for them. So you've now looked at a number of systems that I think are worth you looking at. I think it's available for you to have a go and see which system works for you. But when it comes down to it, there's a few things you really need to look at that are must-haves. Make sure you have a calendar or a booking system that will sync online with your calendar. That's what you want to do, because you need to know that people aren't booking over the top, that they are only booking into time that's actually available. Then you need to decide what features you really need. Do you need to have buffers? Do you need to have payments? Do you need to have a qualification question before people go in? And then decide whether the free version or the paid version is better for you. Calendly has great features on their free service. So does Novocall Timesync, although they don't have a free version, they've just got a paid version. They've got the one flat fee. Timely is an amazing system with lots and lots of extra stuff you can have done, and you may decide whether or not you need it to do all the things that Timely does, or whether you're happy for it to just do the basics. And then choose a system, and this is most important of all, choose a system you're actually going to use. Thank you so much for joining me today. You can contact with me through dante@treaty.com.au. I'd love to hear from you. If you need some bit of advice or some setup help, you can order that through the ASBAS Digital Solutions program. $0 if you've never had a consultation with anyone on the program before, 44 if you've had one, 66 if you've had more than one of those consultations before. You can stalk me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. I'm more than happy to have a chat with you over there as well. But overall, thank you for sitting through this. I hope you're able to take your bookings really easily, and you're able to start generating some revenue through people booking your time without all the hassle of backwards and forwards and I'm available then. Oh, I'm not available then. Are you available then? No, I'm not available then either. It's just the are you available shuffle. That's what we want to try and avoid in all of this. Thank you again, and have a great weekend.